What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Relaxing Thoughts Podcast. I am your host, Digital Relaxation, and we are back again for another episode. This one I'm kind of going to be ranting. I have multiple topics, a couple, but usually I try to have one set topic. But something has came up recently that I feel like I had to talk about, and I'll get to it later. But as always, you guys are listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, please rate it 5 stars, share it, get this to grow. As well as my podcast is now available on Amazon, as well as Spotify, other places. But yeah, just trying to get out there. And let's begin. So as normal, what's been going on with me? For the most part, not much, honestly. I've just been kicking back, just figuring things out, working, just preparing for things that's upcoming. I had a family matter that happened recently, but got over. Well, I don't want to say I got over that. That's something I won't ever get over, but I'm at peace with it now. So just trying to push through from here on. Just keep going. So, there has been some news in the gaming world that have came out, as well as the Black Widow movie that came out, which I have watched. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. Starting with the gaming news, something like I don't want to talk about strictly gaming, but the new Nintendo Switch with the OLED screen is coming soon, and it's not the Pro. The rumored Pro or whatever it's supposed to be, so it's not really it's not an internal enhancement in terms of like what's inside of it and the power and making it stronger, but it's more so the screen. The original Switch uses an LCD screen, which now this is going to switch to the OLED screen, which usually with LCD screens it's mainly just plain backlight that just lights up the whole screen, and that's mostly it. The problem with that is that it also uses a lot of power to use LCD screens, so battery life is now going to be reduced switching to the, well, hopefully it'll be reduced switching to the OLED screen. With the OLED, it uses a pixel by pixel lighting, which gives it a better contrast, so you can see certain things in shadows and lights more better, because they are lit up to be shown how the game was meant to be shown, instead of just giving you one plain lighting view and everything is just bright. So it'll make everything look a lot better. And the screen is large, not so much the Switch. It's like if you have the original Switch, it's like the screen has like a little border around it, and that shows you how much of the screen you can see. So the OLED screen will be more enhanced from that border. So it's not so much the Switch is getting larger, it's just the screen itself is just being more wide open. But the downside with OLED screens normally is that because of how it's lit, using it outside can be difficult, because like mainly it's like if the sun is shining on your screen, it's gonna mess with the contrast, so you won't be able to see things as good. So gotta be careful with using that. And there's also issues with OLED screens that it's like it can be a screen burn or something, which is not what you're thinking. Is more so like if you ever had like an image, like if you ever look at an image too long and you close your eyes and you can still see it in your head, it's kind of gonna be like that just on your Switch. Like if you use it too long, like you're gonna see certain screens still stuck on the Switch that you're not even on. Like you could be playing Pokemon and then switch to YouTube, but in the background you can still see like a little silhouette of Pokemon. So I believe Nintendo did discuss that, so hopefully they will work around that. But for the most part, I mean, the best workaround is just don't overuse your Switch. I mean, just gotta know how to game mildly. And I always assume that if you're gonna use a handheld mode, I assume that you're in a situation where you shouldn't be gaming too much. I always just say, just always dock your Switch if you playing at home. So yeah, I do want it. The Switch is a great console. I know a lot of people ask me if I'm still going to get the next gen or the current gen consoles. So far my answer is still no. Mainly because of the games. There hasn't been any games that's like worth me wanting to get a whole new console for. I mean, the consoles themselves are powerful and such, but what's the point of having a 4K, 8K Spotify streamer? Like, nobody don't want to spend that money just to watch YouTube. So, and if anything, I would have to be looking more towards the PlayStation, because Xbox, I mean, most of the games are going to Game Pass, and which that means is those games are going to be going to PC. So at this point, it's kind of like no point again to Xbox. You could talk on Xbox Live Party chats on your PC with no problem, play games, crossplay. So at this point, having an Xbox really ain't, you know, they're just good for controllers at this point. Xbox just makes great controllers. So right now the PlayStation don't have anything that I want to get the PlayStation for, so I'm good. Like, my PlayStation 4 is literally just sitting there collecting dust. I haven't turned it on. I have not even bought a game since I bought the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 I got came with the Spider-Man. It was a bundle. Other than that, I have not bought a game since. So that shows you how much I'm interested in the PlayStation. As for the Switch though, I do love the Switch. I got a nice little collection of games. I do want to get back into it heavily and probably stream some of my Switch games. I usually play my Switch for like leisure gaming, like when I just want to sit back and chill, turn my brain off. I just put on my Switch. But yeah, so hopefully yeah, I could probably trade my Switch in and get this one. And yeah, so going into the Black Widow movie, yeah, so the Black Widow movie came out, and I don't know if I want to do a review, because then I'm about to do a spoiler warning and I can't tell you when to skip ahead. So I'm gonna try my best to give like a non-spoiler review. I never done like a movie review or a non-spoiler review before, so I'll try my best to not like, you know, spoil anything. So as for the Loki series, I believe the Wednesday as this episode comes out, this is the last episode that I mean in the series. So now that it's over, I did say that I want it to be done by the time I get to it, so I'm gonna probably like not binge watch it, but I am gonna like get through it now, and hopefully the next episode on podcast I'll talk about that. And yeah, so Black Widow movie. So we already knew that this movie was supposed to come out last year, but you know, due to the world pandemic, it had to get pushed back. So it came out, and overall impression, I'm not impressed. I give it, I think I was seeing other reviews, people giving it like 5s and such. I was being generous. I was giving it like a 6.5, maybe a 7, and that's mainly because of like the fight scenes. Like, because Black Widow is known for the hand-to-hand combats, and most of the fight scenes in the movie were done well. It wasn't like blown away, like it wasn't Raid Redemption, but it was good. Yeah, I think that was kind of one of the only redeeming factors of the movie. The story takes place like literally after Civil War, which sucks and doesn't sucks, but yeah, so it shows what Black Widow was doing once she turned her back on the Sokovia Accords and became a fugitive, and her past came back to her in the form of her family and such, and where she was brought up and whatnot. So she was dealing with that. But yeah, so I'm trying not to spoil nothing. I don't know. I didn't really like I said, when I watch trailers for things, I usually just watch like one trailer and then I'll just let it go. So I don't know how much was revealed in the trailer, and it's been a while since I've seen the Black Widow trailer. Like I said, this was advertised a year ago, so I don't even know what is okay for me to talk about right now. We do know that Taskmaster is in the movie. Taskmaster is someone who is shown to be able to mimic pretty much everybody's abilities and such. I'm confused on exactly what this person is. I don't think they have a legit identity in the comics. I'm not sure. But in the Spider-Man game, the PS4 one, he is in the game, and it doesn't seem like he's much of, I don't know, it's like he's not a villain. He's more so like, whoever pays for my services, I'm willing to help out type thing. So it's one of those, like, he's just in it for the money. But obviously for this movie, they had to completely rewrite the story of Taskmaster, which, I mean, I don't know. Marvel is known for doing that, which kind of splits the fan base. They did that in Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin, when they revealed that it wasn't really the Mandarin. So they did a similar reveal with the Taskmaster on this one, which I don't know how the fans will feel about this. So there's that. Other things is the thing that, now I know that the movie was supposed to come out a year ago, but personally I feel like this movie came out too long. I mean, like, no, it took too long for this movie to come out. And I'm only saying that in terms of how the movie was shot and the script and whatnot, because this movie feels like it belonged in phase 1. And what I mean by that is pre-Avengers. So, when you watch the first Iron Man movie, watch the second Iron Man movie, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, for the most part, the only characters that was intertwined with the universe were Nick Fury and Coulson. Iron Man made one brief appearance in the end of the Hulk movie as the end credit scene, but other than that, those were the main two characters that was like intertwining into each universe, mainly with the shield that was like making this universe be one whole thing. So after the Avengers happened, it was more like, now that we're all together, it's one of those, it's usually one of those questions when you watch movies, like, oh, like, wow, this is happening, where is Thor? Oh, where is Captain America? Like, why is he doing this by himself? And I feel like that's why Iron Man 3 got like a mixed review when it initially came out. Aside from that villain twist, it was because it was like, we just went from having the Avengers formed, and now Iron Man is by himself again. Rhodey did appear a few times, but for the most part it was just Tony, and it was like, it felt empty, because like now we know there's more people that can help him. Why is he doing this alone? So from that point on, they kind of just like, when they do movies that already have characters established in each other universes, they kind of put them in. So Iron Man was all over Spider-Man movies, Civil War, that was a Captain America movie, but half the Avengers was in there, plus bonus characters was in there. So Doctor Strange, Thor was in it, vice versa. So this movie, it felt like it was pre-Avengers because it was just Black Widow. Like, it was one of those, yeah, this happened at the Civil War, and we know when Infinity War came out, she was with Captain America and Falcon. and I don't I don't want to, I guess, spoilers, but they didn't like this. Like I said, this is, we don't know the time frame, so this seems like this is right after Civil War, like probably a month after. So, you know, Captain America was already fleeing by the end of Civil War, so this one took her a little more time for them to like really chase her. So this was like before she was able to get with them, and it was like, yeah, it sucks because it's like, I don't know. And then they try to have her little family team going on with her mother, her father, and her sister and whatnot. But it was like, you know, these guys, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say they were poorly written. But when you realize the story behind the family and whatnot, it just makes you care less about certain characters, and some of the twists that was happening, it like, I didn't care about them, so it was like, whatever. But that's mainly it. I mean, I don't know what to say. The only thing I do want to say is that I am seeing what with the end credits, I guess Marvel is teasing Dark Avengers, I guess, I don't know. But it seems like they're trying to have like this dark team form. They already hinted it with the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's one character that seems to be appearing in these series, like Nick Fury was. So I don't know if this character is going to appear in Loki. I don't think she was in WandaVision. WandaVision was something different. I think WandaVision was setting up Doctor Strange, if I'm not mistaken. So, which that's the only movie I'm waiting for in the MCU at this point. I don't really care about anything else now. So that's about it. Yeah. So I personally gave the movie like a 6.5 out of 10. And that's mainly because of like the fighting. The story didn't do much for me. I didn't really care about this story. Took too long for us to know about it, and the story that we should have gotten, we didn't get. They still keep talking about this Budapest mission like in passing instead of just giving us the scene. So whatever, but that's that. I mean, I say watch it, why not? But at the same time, it's nothing to rush to, like, and just watch it when you got time or when it's free on Disney Plus. I know that there's like a fee barrier that you gotta pay even if you have the subscription. So yeah. Now on to the first main topic. Now look, so of course my podcast is called Relaxing Thoughts. The main point of my podcast is to have chill discussions about things, not to really dive into like politics and whatnot and controversial topics and things. I don't know if people want to hear that. I mean, nobody had really, some people have asked for my opinion on certain things, but I don't know if that's what everyone wants to hear. So if everyone want to hear that, I will talk more about stuff like that. But so also, like, giving my disclaimer before I get into this, and I should always give this disclaimer when I talk about certain things on my podcast. I'm not no professional on these topics. I'm not no psychiatrist or whatever. When I speak on mental health issues and whatnot, like, I'm not a therapist. I just know my experience and what I've been through and what I've overcome and stuff, and I'm just being someone. I just want to be a voice for someone who can say that I made it to the other side and this is how it feels to be on the other side, and let people know who's still dealing with things that there is another side, that you can get over this. It's gonna take a lot, but it's possible. So yeah, so this this topic came to me from another podcast, and I don't know, it just kind of, it was like one of the final straws, I guess. So legendary rapper Juvenile and Manny Fresh decided to remix this song for Back That Thang Up to Vax That Thang Up to promote the vaccine. Now I know some people already saying that one, they selling out, they jiving. Other people saying that they're pushing an agenda and they're using our people to do it and whatnot. So I'm gonna speak on these things on a mutual ground as best as I can. So my thoughts on the song, of course, shouldn't have been done. We did not need that at all, at all. And it's not only that, it's the video too that goes with the song, and it's like they trying to make this they trying to make it look like a legit rap song, like with the girls dancing, the vixens and stuff, and Juvenile throwing vaccine cards like it's money, and I'm it's like, bro, what is this? So I don't understand why they had to do that. Well, aside from probably getting the bag, so get your money, but other than, I don't know why. Like why I don't know. And from my knowledge, I don't think there's anything that's been done like this. So my question is, why was the first option a rap song? Like, why can't I go to a rock, a pop? Like, why I had to go to rappers? And trying to, this is the hip and cool thing. Like, yeah, rap is probably the most popular art form of music right now, but no means you gotta do that. So it's like, I don't like that they had to go to rap first to do this, and then now it only just opens up another door for all the possible remix songs. I already saw a comment section that they said they're gonna use the LMFAO and Lil Jon Shot song to promote getting the shot. I mean, I won't be surprised at this point now. So, but my thing about this song that I'm not 100% confused about, I get it, but it goes with the agenda thing. So the song is mainly promoting this song as the equivalent to wearing a condom. They promoting this as coronavirus is an STD, and you shouldn't be dating unless you got the vaccine. That's basically what the song is about. That you shouldn't date people and get intimate with people unless you get the vaccine. I mean, two things on that. One, why are you? I don't like quote unquote agendas of being told what to do and what not to do. I mean, people should be able to do what they want to do. You telling me that I can't be with somebody because I didn't get a vaccine? What if I'm been in a relationship with someone for multiple years, and we both decide not to get the vaccine? You telling us that we had to break up or something? We can't be together no more because we decided not to get the vaccine? What type of message is this? And then it's yeah, you can't do this with your girl or with your guy unless you get the vaccine. It's use a condom before you have sex, or you're gonna get the corona. That's what this whole song was sounding like. And from my knowledge, corona is more of a airborne virus that it can be transmitted through people to people contact, but y'all making it sound like that's how it's formed, and it's not. It's at the end of the day, it's not about so much the people contact. It's just more so the airborne virus that's going through and attacking your insides. It's one thing that if you're already breathing in the air and what it's already doing to you, and it's another thing too just saying just because you're with somebody, it's automatically a danger. And it's like, it's kind of like two different things. And now with the other agenda, which I don't, I mean, this is not my thoughts, my opinion or nothing. This is something I just hear about, and I'm like, this song kind of puts two and two together when, like, for the conspiracy theory people, like when y'all kind of make it obvious, it's weird. Like, you know, some people fear getting the vaccine because it will ruin childbirth. I mean, that's the whole agenda, you know, population control and reducing the population. And this song is promoting that you can't do things that, you know, can't have sex with someone and do things with your partner unless you get the vaccine. And it's like you saying that unless I get the vaccine, I can't be intimate with my partner and potentially, you know, make a baby with this person. And then it's like, yeah, two and two together type things. Like, if you're trying to control the population through the vaccine and you're telling me that I can't do what I had to do unless I get the vaccine, it's kind of like you're just throwing it in my face now. But like I said, that's two whole different agendas and stuff. I just feel like, yeah, things I want to talk about. I mean, I'm not telling people what to do and what not to do myself. If you want to get the vaccine, go ahead. It's not like I'm not gonna be like, oh, like, if you got the vaccine, you shouldn't listen to my podcast. I don't want people who got the vaccine to listen to it, or vice versa if you don't got it. Like, I already know family members who got the shot. I know people who plan on getting the shot. It is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your life. You gotta take whatever measures you gotta take for your freedom and your not your freedom, but your survival. Do what you gotta do. But yeah, it's just, I just personally don't like the route that they had to go with it. Like, it was already one thing that I hate when I'm like listening to things or watching things and I get an ad and it's always a vaccine ad, and it's just like, even it's like, at first I get a normal vaccine ad and then I get one in Spanish, and at first I don't know what they're saying, then I hear vax and I'm like, bruh, like, get out of here. So then they had to come into our culture. No, stop. But I had to come in and use rap music, you know, the cool, hip, trendy music to get people into taking the shot. And it's like, you know, the pandering you're doing, like, it's just not cool. It's like, at this point, we had a year to know what this virus is, and, you know, we had a year to make the decision of what we will do if the opportunity arrives, if a vaccine or a cure or whatever comes aboard. Like, people, you don't need to keep manipulating people's thoughts to do things. Like I said, this is all a mind game and mind trickery and whatnot. Like, you don't have to constantly try to brainwash people into doing things. Like, people were born knowing right and wrong. It's when a group of people tries to sway your decisions when things go wrong. It's like, no, we know that the virus is bad. We know that if we do certain things, it will help prevent us getting the virus. We should be able to make that decision on our own. We're, you know, for the most part, we're adults, and whoever are adults and have kids, we are parents. We should be able to tell our kids what to do and what not to do. We shouldn't have to, oh, this rapper told me to get the vaccine. Like, no, like, Juvenile shouldn't be your selling point to getting the vaccine. It should be your own logic conclusion. So that's just my feeling on that. Like I said, if you can, like, you know, get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine, do what you gotta do, but don't let certain things persuade you to do it. So that's my only issue with that song. But yeah, but like I said, I won't be surprised if there's gonna be more. So going into my next topic, this one is a topic that, I mean, this is kind of like the lifelong debate or whatever. This is if you're living in the wrong or right era. I already know that there's a lot of people and when I was younger, I used to be like that too. People who feel like they were born in the wrong time, like, you know, people are, you know, this is not the era, I'm an old soul, you know. Or people who be like, no, in my past, I had a past life, you know, back in my past I did this, you know. It's like, this is not me. And it's like, I don't know, like I said, as I got older and, you know, think about things more and whatnot, I feel like, well, one, living in the past is, you know, it's okay to think about your past, but to try to live in the past is which I already see. That's, you know, like I said, that's one thing. Like, you know, people who want to have the whole aesthetic of like they are retro people, like gamers who only play retro games, fashion people who only wear like clothing that look like they were popular in the early 90s, but they're trying to make it popular now. One thing I always go with Bruno Mars is like, he's like the epitome of trying to like bring back the 70s and 90s in his music, and it's like it's working for him because he's capitalizing on a musical art form that died. Like, it still bugs me to the day, like how disco and like those kind of music that like my dad grew up on and whatnot, it's just gone. Like, rock is still here, jazz is still here, pop, hip hop is still growing, and like this art form is just gone. I mean, there's others too, I'm pretty sure, but like it's just, yeah. And it was a great art form, but it was just like, it was an era thing. Like, it was the product of its era. It wasn't a generational thing. Like, hip hop went from the mid to late 70s to the 80s to the 90s, 2000s, and the 10s, and now we in the 20s. Like, it's a generational thing. Like, that music in the 70s, that's it. That's why they could, you know, they categorize it as that gap. And it's like, yeah, it's a product of its own environment, and that was it. It was gone. Obviously, it evolved to R&B, but now R&B is almost a dying art form in itself too. But yeah. So yeah, so the people who be like, you know, they old souls, they living in the wrong era and whatnot. And yeah, like I said, I used to think about that too when I was younger. And, you know, because I used to be curious as to like why certain things gravitated towards me. Like I said, growing up, when I was younger, for the most part, I was usually the youngest, so I was always influenced by what the people who was older than me were into. So, you know, I remember once I'm with my older brother and my older cousins. We had this VHS tape. See, anybody know about those? But we had this VHS tape that had, you know, multiple movies on it and whatnot. So when you like freaking record a bunch of stuff on one tape and just watch it, so it had Nightmare on Elm Street on it, and I mean, it was cool. I'm not much of a horror fan, so I was watching that with them and whatnot. And then right after, it's the weirdest transition too, because that movie, I'm not sure which one it is. It could be the first one, but that movie ends with the main character like driving off, and her mom is like waving her away, and then you see the you know, the kids that be singing the Freddy Krueger song, like skip rope in front of the lawn, and she's just looking there, and then like Freddy Krueger arm just come and just snatches her through the door, and it's like this horror ending. And then they just transition to the next movie, which is Breakdance the movie. This movie, I believe this movie came out in the 70s. But this movie is it the first? Oh no, this movie came out in 84. I don't know if it's the first. I gotta check my sources. Let me see if I can look at certain movies. Oh no, this 82, 84. So yeah, 82. So we going by this movie. Then no, sorry. Wild Style would be the first movie that that's like about the breakdance and hip hop culture. But that movie, the Milestyle, it was about all the elements of hip hop. Honestly, it was about DJing, graffiti, breakdances, b-boy, b-girls, rap, all of that. So, but breaking was strictly about breakdancing. Hip hop, like that's the funny thing, because this movie came out in the mid '80s, and it was barely any rap, or I wouldn't say rap, but just hip hop like stuff. Yeah, I would go with rap, because hip hop, the culture, is two different things from rap. There's barely any rap stuff. Like there was only 2 scenes where they battle in like the little breakdance. I don't know what it was, a club type place where they go to breakdance. And Ice-T is like rapping while they breakdancing, and he's like rapping what's going on and whatnot. But other than that, the main soundtrack is all like pop, R&B music, and it's amazing because, like, when you think of breakdance, you think of breakdancing to hip hop. These dudes is like breakdancing to like the song "Ain't Nobody" and whatnot. Like, it has nothing to do with like rap music, so it was dope. But it was like the fact that movie, like it just took me, like, just that culture, a culture I was not even close to being born to, but I felt like I relate to it and I can connect to it a lot, and I had no reason understanding why, because I wasn't born in that time period. But yeah, like I used to think, no man, if I was back in the 80s or the 70s, I think things would be great for me, like, the music back in that time, yeah, all that. Yeah, the music, like my music influence is weird. So like, even going back to like my video games, Grand Theft Auto, I to this day still say Grand Theft Auto Vice City has probably the best radio soundtracks of all Grand Theft Autos. And at the time period, I was only speaking about that only because of one radio station, which was Fever 105. That was my radio station growing up as a kid. Like, just all of those R&B songs that was back in that time period. Rick James, Michael Jackson, just a bunch of other stuff. I believe Mary Jane Girls was in it. Even one of my favorite songs by Kool and the Gang, I believe, Summer Madness. That's my song. And yeah, like, I used to have that radio station on repeat. And yeah, like, I was not born in that time period to understand that music, but like, that was like, I also hear it from my father, like when he played his music, and then hearing it in a game that came out in the time period of when I'm growing up. So it was like, hearing it, it's like being reintroduced to the culture through my time period. Vice City came out in 2002. The music, Vice City, the game takes place in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, in timeline wise. So everything in that time period was 80s. So yeah, like that. Flash FM was the pop station of the 80s. One of my favorite songs of all times. Joe Jackson, Stepping Out. I love that song so much. And it's like, yeah, it's like, granted, when San Andreas came out, and yeah, with the 90s, and it was hip hop, but it was West Coast hip hop. Like, that's not, as much as I love it, that ain't me. East Coast hip hop forever. It was just that boom bap era. I love the chill vibes. Yeah, it's just stuff like that. Like, it makes you wonder. So like, by the time I got towards like when I got towards like old enough to like start, having my own favorite music and whatnot, it was already like, in the mid early 2000s. And by this time, the Jiggy era took it over. Puffy, Bad Boys was kind of taking over at that time. DMX, Eminem, Nelly. So the South was slowly coming up too. After Outkast, Goody Mob, and them already made the way, but they came in, like Nelly came and made the South sexy. Like before, the South was just Southern, like, you know, you think of the country and whatnot, like how they talk and Cadillacs and whatnot. And Nelly just came and like sexified the South. So he made it marketable. But yeah, it was like Ja Rule, transitioning from that rap and constantly having R&B features and singing and having love songs, but you trying to be a thug rapper. There was just all of that weirdness that was going on. So it was like, and then it was like, damn, it feels weird. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it feels weird. So it's like going back to the 90s, you know. I wish I was still more in the 90s. And then now as I get older and hearing the music that comes out now, and it's like, damn, man, I missed the early 2000s. Like early 2000s, like now, like, no, I think that's the thing, is like with people who wants to be old souls or wants to be in different time period, I think people are not taking appreciation to the current time state that they are living in. Like the fact that I can go back and reevaluate the early 2000 music, and like when I think about that music now, like I think about, especially in this time period of like, you know, the pandemic, like that music was the epitome of like being outside music. Like, you know, couldn't go anywhere without hearing certain songs just blasting through the radio and whatnot. Songs constantly on replay, but it wasn't annoying because these songs were good. Like it was just, you just had to be outside and experience, you know, rapping these songs with your boys, being in the lunch table rapping the hook to Jay-Z's Girls, 50 Cent Many Men, like this is singing those parts. It was like yeah, like it's one of those, like you just have to be outside and experience it. Like now it's like, it's either you got the music to yourself or you gotta be in a club to enjoy this music on a worldwide, like socially way. It's like, I don't know, I feel like these songs aren't mainly made for like radio. Like I don't feel weird like when I hear people driving by and I hear like current songs being played through their car, and I'm like, it just don't feel right. It don't feel like, oh, he playing that song. It just feel like, oh, yeah, I guess. It don't sound right coming out your speakers. Like it just felt like it wasn't made to be played in your car. I think that's what the thing is too. I guess maybe it's how they structuring the music and whatnot. But yeah, I feel like I'm going off topic, but I'm still on topic. But I feel like I'm going off what I'm trying to really speak about. But yeah, like I said, it's those things that like it makes you who you are, and I think people need to appreciate the era that they are living in and whatnot. I mean, granted, yeah, there's a lot of great things that we miss, but it's put in perspective of people who are living in this time period now. It's like we had the technology and stuff to go back. Like I can go back and watch breaking. I can go back and listen to 90s hip hop. Like think about the people who were in the 90s and 80s, like hearing that thing. Like I love hearing about how rappers had to like record songs back in like the 80s and whatnot, like constantly having to like stop the record and whatnot, and you had to make sure you get the thing right and get the sound right. It's like everything had to be pitch perfect. Now it's just like throw the beat on and just write and rap over it, and that's it. It's like they really had to, like, everything had to be right to make these songs. Especially it was like developing a whole new art form too. Like hip hop was different. Like not like before, like we didn't have the funds to just go in the studio and make hip hop songs. Like we had to create it and create how it was made, like creating samples and creating DJing and whatnot to make it become a record. But yeah, so it's like, you know, being able to being in a time period where you can experience certain things, like, you know, imagine, like, put in perspective of people, like, imagine like Marvel Comics. I don't know what's the first Marvel comic is, but I believe call it Captain America was more so like a propaganda comic for World War II and whatnot, which was what, 30s to 40s. Yeah, so Marvel Comics was founded in 39, so right in the 40s. So let's say people who were in the 40s and whatnot, and you know, sadly, whatever reason they didn't make it, you know, long enough to live past the 2000s and whatnot. Granted, we still had superhero movies in the 90s. We had Blade, Spawn, whatnot, the TV shows, but what if they don't know nothing about the MCU? Like they know they missed that era. They just, you know, they just managed to not live long enough of, like, you know, get past a certain time period in their era and missed out on the MCU. We have that beauty. Like, we're living in the time period where we sat there and watched Robert Downey Jr., which at the time period he was like a failing actor, going through, I believe, alcohol addiction and whatnot, going into prison, completely reinvent himself and become Tony Stark's and kick off the MCU with Iron Man, and all the way to Endgame. Like, we saw that. Even going before that, seeing Blade, which I believe that movie, that franchise, single-handedly saved Marvel from going bankrupt. They were about to sell off Marvel, and that movie made it more marketable to make superhero movies. Like, I experienced that. Like, I was there for that. So it's like, you gotta, like, yeah, I think you just gotta know how to, like, as you get older and with time, just appreciate where you came from and how it made you who you are. I mean, like I said, there are people who live in, I guess, aesthetic, like, point of views, like people who base their lives on wanting to be a 90 person, so they live their life in the 90s, dressing like they're in the 90s and whatnot. But it won't change the fact that you still have technology in this current time period. You still have things that's in this time period. You will never 100% truly be in the 90s unless you completely remove yourself from everything that is now, and it's almost impossible to do that unless you're like living in a cave that's just 90s. It's just so, like, you will never be able to capture the true essence of that time period. Like, you know, man, as much you want to be in the 90s, like, payphones is almost obsolete. I don't even know the last time I seen a payphone. This old flip phones, all of these things that was back in the day, a beeper. Like, I live like I just missed the beeper era. That was funny because I never knew how it worked or it functioned. I didn't live long enough to see that, but I was able to see my father still owned one when I was younger, so like I was still able to see a beeper, but it just died off. Like, by the time I was getting a little bit older, like I would say, like, yeah, 99, 2000, like the beeper just died off. So I just missed seeing the beeper. And yeah, I think that was like almost the equivalent to like text messaging. Like, you get a message saying, you know, somebody wants you to call them from a certain number. It's like, oh, okay, instead of just being called. It's weird. I still don't truly understand the full purpose of the beeper. I might research it someday, but yeah. The next thing I want to talk about is those specific people, I guess, or group of people. It seems like almost in every era where people believe that their era is living in the end times. I mean, I know you see it in, like, it's almost like a cliche in these apocalypse movies that they always have that one homeless dude with a cardboard saying it's the end of times. In like almost every apocalypse movie, It's like, look how long things have been going. Like, granted, yeah, I'm not, people have their beliefs and whatnot and what they follow and then the signs they're seeing, but at the same time, it's like, my belief is don't rush it. Don't try to, like, I don't know. It's the same thing as like trying to tell people to get the vaccine. It's like trying to tell people prepare for the end of the world. It's like, that's not something you can prepare for, bro. Like, when it happens, it's gonna happen. Like, you don't understand. Like, people are trying to paint the end of the world. Like, people have their own vision of the end of the world. Like, people trying to paint their vision of the end of the world as like an apocalyptic thing where they can survive it and be the last remaining humans and rebuild civilization. And that may be true. My personal belief is that when it's the end of the world, that's the key word, the end. Like, there should be nothing surviving. It's gonna end. That's it. Like, people get different. The end of the world means the end of humanity. End of the world means the apocalypse. So many people have many interpretations. So it's like, can't keep forcing people to believe what's happening, what's gonna happen, and how you should prepare for it. Because, like I said, 2012 was supposed to happen, and what happened? Nothing. It's like, it's only so much that we can sit there and keep panicking and stressing out about these things. Like, these are things that's born, like, in us, that we have an expiration date. So it's like, don't rush it. Enjoy your life. Enjoy the experience. Enjoy the blessing that you've been put into experience this, this life. And yeah, when it's your time to, go ahead. It's your time. Go to the next stage, next phase, or you believe that's the end. Everyone have their belief on what happens afterwards. It is what it is. So, like, but I feel like I don't understand why every era feels like it has to be that thing too. Like, when is the era when you feel like, damn, I was born in this era, I had to be born in the era where I got to experience the end of the world? Like, that could be a bad thing to some people. Like, bro, like, I was literally born to see the world end. And then there's people who's like, oh shit, like, I managed to live long enough to see the end of the world. Like, that's crazy. Like, it's like, people like, no, people who came before me can't even see this. So, like, I don't know, there's different ways you could take it. It's all about perspective. Like I said, just don't take things for granted, man. Like, this is your era. You were born here for a reason. You seen the things you seen for a reason. You learned the things you learned for a reason. Been exposed to the things you've been exposed to for a reason. Like, it is what it is. It's all, like I said, it's all a generational things which you pass down from what you grew up to. Like, I learned about the 70s music, the funk, disco. Even my dad's his favorite group is the Beatles. Like, learning about that music, like, that's something you never thought I'd listen to, being me and where I'm from. Just missing the 90s, hearing how things transitioned from Tupac and Biggie to DMX and Eminem and Jay-Z. Like, that transition, like, how movies changed. Like, movies was, there was a lot of hood movies that was educational about the black community, to Marvel movies coming out almost every other year. Like, just the change in how things were made. So it's like, just accept what it is, what you've been given, and live how you want to live. Like, at the same time, there's still people who cling on to that past and live things in the past, but at the end of the day, you would never truly be in that era. Like, that era wasn't for you. Like, you would never be there no more. Like, you gotta just go ahead. And it's sad to say, like, nostalgia still exists, your memories still exist, the reason why we have them, so we can remember these things and cherish these things. But keep living in it, I don't know. I think it's impossible to do it unless you completely isolate yourself from the world. So yeah, jeez, I don't know if this if this was a sad sounding podcast. I didn't want this to be sad or nothing, I don't know, but yeah. Hopefully I didn't make, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna end it here. So yeah, as usual, I try to, I keep forgetting to write these questions. I don't know, I gotta start focusing on writing these questions. My end of the podcast questions, I guess I'll break it down to two phases. One, not so much as if you're going to get the vaccine or not, but do you believe that we need certain tactics like this to encourage people to get the vaccine or discourage them to get the vaccine? Like, do you think we need to be reaching out to hip-hop legends and remixing songs and whatnot? And even if that, like, why it has to be hip-hop, like, why can't it be something else? But I don't know. And second, do you believe that you were living in the wrong timeline or the right era? Do you believe that you should have been born sooner or later? Like, what era did you feel like you should have been a part of? And yeah, with that, it's been another episode of Lesson Thoughts Podcast. Yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in, listening, just trying to grow. Share this with anyone that you know who likes listening to these things, like hearing my perspective and stuff. I'm trying my best. I'm gonna try my best to like get more people into this, because there's a lot of things I do want to talk about. There's things that I want other perspectives on, so I'll try my best to get some guests. In the meantime, yeah, just been it, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day, have a great week, and yeah, till next time, peace.